All right, here we go. We're doing section 3.8. This is solving quadratics using the quadratic formula. To review, we've already solved them by factoring. Okay, that's one way that we've already talked about. And we've already solved them by square roots. Okay, those are the two methods that we already know how to do. Factoring is fairly easy, and then square roots is fairly easy. Quadratic formula is very easy as well. And the beauty of the quadratic formula is that it'll replace these two if you want. There's times when factoring is the easiest method, and there's times when square root both sides is the easiest method. But the beauty of the quadratic formula is that it will always work. It may not be the fastest way, but it will always work. All right, so here we go. X squared plus 4x plus 3 is equal to 0. I'm going to list out, there's 4 steps that we're going to list out, and then this is the first example. Step number 1 is set it equal to 0. Set it equal to 0. If it's not equal to 0, you're going to have to move some stuff around, subtract 3 from both sides, subtract 4x from both sides. You might have to combine like terms, but you've got to set it equal to 0. That's your first step. It does not matter, where it did in factoring, it does not really matter if x squared is positive or negative. You can do it both ways. Okay? If x squared works out to be negative, it's okay. It's not that big a deal. Okay? Step number 2 is label A, B, and C. If you ask me for help, and I come to your desk and I look, and you don't have A, B, and C labeled, then I'm not going to help you. And that sounds harsh, but it is so important that you label A, B, and C appropriately. What that means, I spelled label wrong. Label A, B, C is it's in standard form. Okay? And when it's in standard form, it's ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. That's where the A, B, and C come from. If you can't label A, B, and C appropriately and get them right, then you can forget steps number 3 and 4. It doesn't make any difference. You've got to get A, B, and C correct. It's an elementary step, but I want you to label A, B, and C. Okay? In this problem, in this first example, A is 1, B is 4, and C is 3. If you want to write A, B, and C over the top of them like that, and then do this, I want to see A equals, B equals, and C equals. I want you to label out A, B, and C. Step number 3, plug it in. Plug it into the formula. Anybody know the formula? Negative B. I'll get you started. B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. So some of you had an idea, because we've already talked about a little bit about the discriminant. You had an idea about the quadratic formula. You must memorize the quadratic formula prior to Friday. I will not give you this on the test. It's not a hard formula for you to memorize, but you're going to have to take that A, B, and C that you found and plug it into the formula. If you want 5 points bonus on Friday's test, you'll stand up in front of the class and sing the quadratic formula to the tune of Frere Jacques. Think you can handle that?
I don't know how to.
5 points.
I don't know.
You say each part twice. Negative B, blah, 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 blah.
I'll do it.
Okay,
I can do that.
And believe it or not, it helps, because when you sing it and you're sitting there on the test trying to remember it, it helps. You say each part twice. Okay? All right. Step number 4, I'm going to go ahead and write this, and then we're going to continue that example. Step number 4 is simplify. Step number 4 is simplify, and that's kind of open-ended, because there may be a little simplification that you have to do, or there may be a lot of simplification that you have to do. But you have to get it down to the simplest form. Okay? Simplify as much as you can. All right, so let's look at this example over here. Eyes up here, everybody's paying attention. Negative b is going to be negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 4 squared minus 4 times 1 times 3 all over 2 times 1. All I did was plug it in. I plugged in a, b, and c. Okay, I said it kind of fast. Now, Adam said, can this calculator do all this, do it all for me? Okay, and the answer is no, but it'll do parts of it for you. It will do the 4 squared minus 4 times 1 times 3 for you. It'll do all that for you correctly. Okay, it doesn't know how to do the plus or minus. So it'll do chunks of it for you and make your life a little easier. It's not that hard to do it by hand. Here we go. Negative 4 plus or minus, what's 4 squared?
16.
16. What is 4 times 1 times 3? 12. So that's just 16 minus 12. 2 times 1 is 2. So I've done the first step. Okay, I'm going to write out each step on this first example. Questions? All right. Now we go negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 16 minus 12 is 4. We're jumping up and down. Why? 4 is a perfect square. That makes the problem easier. Okay, it's a few more steps, but it makes the problem easier. When I see that perfect square there like 4, I know that immediately I'm going to say negative 4 plus or minus 2 over 2. It's nice, round, whole numbers. Okay, we like that, right? There's no radicals. Okay, I got one more step. Doesn't this look familiar? When I have whole numbers and I have the plus or minus, what do I need to do? I need to break it up into the two scenarios, right? I'm running out of room, but here we go. Negative 4 plus 2 over 2. And then what goes here? Negative 4 minus 2 over 2. I'm breaking it up into the two scenarios. Why? Why am I breaking it up on this problem? Because there's whole numbers. Because I can. Because it's not just a radical. If it was a radical, I'd be done. I'll show you an example in a second. This gives me negative 2 over 2, which is what? Negative 1. This gives me negative 6 over 2, which is negative 3. So my answer is x equals negative 1 and negative 3. And I'm done. All right, let's review the steps. Step 1, set it equal to 0. Step 2, label A, B, and C. Step 3, plug it into the formula that you have memorized. Step 4, simplify. All the way down. If you leave it like this, it's wrong. You leave it like this, it's wrong. You've got to carry it all the way out and say negative 1 and negative 3. Okay? Now, go back and look at your original problem. And I don't want to frustrate you, but I do want to show you. If I say x plus 4x plus 3, and I tried to factor it, and I say x and x plus and plus, what are the factors of 3 that have something to do with 4?
3 and 1.
3 and 1 is equal to 0. Don't I get x equals negative 1 and negative 3? Just like that? Is that a lot easier than the quadratic formula? Yes, it is. So on your scale here, right, factoring is a lot easier if it factors. If it factors, factoring is a lot easier. On the EOCT, they don't know. They might say solve using the quadratic formula, but if it factors, factor it. Okay, I got no problem with that. I don't have any problem with that on the test Friday. Okay, if it factors, factoring is the easier method. However, the quadratic formula, as you see, will give you the right answer. It just takes a little longer. If that was a 6, the only thing I could do would be the quadratic formula because it doesn't factor. So some people don't want to get into does it factor, does it not factor. They just throw the white flag up in the air and say, I'm going to do the quadratic formula every single time because I know that if I do it correctly, it'll give me the right answer. But I want y'all to know that factoring is easier if it factors. Okay, and there's an easy way to tell whether or not it's going to factor, and it's called the discriminant. Remember when we did that, b squared minus 4ac? So we'll get into that more of that in just a minute. Let's do a few more examples. Any questions on this before I move on? Okay, what time are we at? 8:30. 8:30. Let's stop it. Ashley, step up there and stop it. Hit the record button and stop it, and we'll restart. I'll erase and we'll restart.